PG-13 Die Hard. Hey everybody, this is my part 4 Big Daddy review Die Hard series, and this one is Die Hard 4.0, or also known as Live Free or Die Hard. Now when you watch the movie, in the beginning it says just Die Hard 4.0 as the title of the movie. But if you buy it or look at any of the posters, it's called Live Free or Die Hard. I guess they changed the name after they made the movie and decided not to go back and actually put it in the beginning credits as what the title of the movie was. So that's weird, but okay. This one's directed by Len Wiseman, who is also known for directing Underworld and the new Total Recall. And apparently, according to IMDb, he's going to be directing Die Hard Year One. And apparently it's like the origin story of John McClane, but it's starring Bruce Willis. So I don't know how a Bruce Willis that's 30 years older is going to play himself before. I don't know what that is, but whatever. I guess we'll see. There's no info on it. That's all I know. But I've got a bunch of notes on this movie. I got them right here, so let's go through them. We'll talk about this. So we got Bruce Willis is back as John McClane, of course. And this time he's helped by a computer hacker, Matt Farrell, who is played by Justin Long. And they go up against the bad guy hacker, Thomas Gabriel, who's played by Timothy Oliphant, or as Kevin Smith likes to call him in the podcast story that he has on him, Oliphantastic. I love it because now every time I see him, I think Oliphantastic. You guys should look that up. It's a funny story from Kevin Smith from his podcast, but I'm sure you can find a clip of it on YouTube or something. Maggie Q is also in this as Thomas Gabriel's girlfriend henchman, Mai Lin. Hope I said that right. And my God, is she hot. Oh, yummy. If you saw my thumbnail, delicious. But also Kevin Smith makes an appearance, which I love because I love Kevin Smith. He's a geeky nerd god. He's up there. Let's see. I like what they went with the technology-based hacking storyline. You know, it's different from the other three. It's coming into the new millennium. We actually have better technology than what they were showing in Die Hard 2. And, you know, it gives McClane a kind of fish out of water, you know, old man, behind the times kind of storyline. Well, not kind of, that is the storyline, but it gives him that fish out of water storyline. Now, when we get into the action, you know, when we get into the beginning of the movie, they have all of these hackers uploading code that they had them program, and they're killing them off one by one after they finish their job. And I thought it was smart that they used Control-Alt-Delete as the trigger to set off the bomb in the hacker's computer, because back then in the early 2000s, mid-2000s, even up until a few weeks ago, I had hit Control-Alt-Delete myself on my computer. So I liked that little touch, little geeky touch. I also liked that the computer geeks were listening to heavy metal, because heavy metal and computer geek seems to go hand in hand. I don't know very many computer geeks that don't listen to metal, at least not in my world. I'm sure they're out there, but that's just a cool, nice touch. Heavy metal, energy drinks, sugar, and computers. Pretty much what we do. And I also like that they use multiple hackers, like I said before, because you know, hackers are they like puzzles. So if you give them too much of something, they're going to think there's a bigger picture. But if you give them one job and make it sound like it's something else, then they think they're just being hired for that one job. So that was smart, so it doesn't make anyone ask too many questions. And then you kill them off when they're done so they don't, in the future, ask any questions. Justin Long cracks me up. And I'm so happy that he was in this movie. Even though it's PG-13, which sucked, at least the humor made up for it. You know, that made the movie interesting. I still don't like a PG-13 Die Hard. I'm glad they went back to R, even though the R-rated movie we got wasn't that good, which will be my next review. Now we start off with a big action sequence of them shooting up Justin's apartment because, McClane showed up and he's not hitting Control-Delete. Well, that sniper that you see that's shooting him, and he's in the action scenes for a lot in the future, that is a stuntman choreographer named Cyril Raffaelli. Now, he has been in a lot of movies. The dude pops up everywhere. One of my favorite fight scenes he did was in Kiss of the Dragon against Jet Li. That was an awesome sequence. But if you watch martial art movies and a lot of action movies, you'll see him pop up all over the place. And every time he does, he's incredible on screen. He's a master of the wire work. He's parkour master. I mean, the dude just can do it all. So I love any scene that he's in. So good job, Cyril. I love your stuff. Now, putting Cyril and other stuntmen like him, like part of his group and stuff, they really increased the awesomeness of the action sequences, which made the PG-13 more tolerable. So, even though this one was PG-13, the humor and the fight and action sequences were good enough to make up for that. But this is the first movie where we get the truly unbelievable action sequences. And in the next movie, they get even worse. I mean, we had some unbelievable ones in the last movie, and with a vengeance, but it wasn't as unbelievable. It wasn't to this scale, riding an airplane as it explodes and that kind of stuff. But one little tidbit, when they're in the taxi and the bad guys switch all the lights to green, and they basically create a traffic jam for the entire city. Right before that, Justin Long was going on a rant about the media and how it's controlled and by corporate America and all this kind of stuff. That's actually true. I'm just saying. It's funny that the high-tech command centers in the CIA, NSA, FBI in these movies, they look like NASA command centers with like huge, gigantic screens, and everybody's in these like semicircle ovals facing it with computers and stuff. When in reality, the command center for those places is a bunch of cubicles. So that video message of the presidents talking the bad guy's message, that was well edited. That was a cool, creepy way of getting their message across. I liked the way they did that. And then the idea of the fire sale. Now, a fire sale was coined for this movie. It was pretty much created for this movie. Back then, the technology wasn't really set up to be able to do something like that. However, I think they got it from Fight Club. In Fight Club, they blow up all the credits companies and records to try and reboot society. Everybody is now equal on debt and all that stuff. And this is the same idea, just on a much larger scale, basically creating Armageddon. And But it was created for this movie. It's not something hackers have been planning or anything like that. Plus, at the time, 2007, that wasn't really possible yet. However, with the Stuxnet virus that came out that took down Iran's centrifuges, now it's possible, because that was one of the most sophisticated programs, viruses I've ever heard of. This thing was insane. And it got into a network that was closed off, an total internal network, no outside access, so they would have to get the virus inside. And the virus was super sophisticated. So I think today, yeah, it would be possible, but it would be a very large-scale operation. And we would, the government would probably be on them pretty fast. They wouldn't really get away with it. But anything can be hacked, really. You just got to figure out how. There's no such thing as unhackable. So the car crashes in the tunnel were cool. For the most part, they used practical effects and stunt cars and stuntmen and rigs and everything. But they did do like green screen to fit the characters in there, so they were closer to the action, make it more thrilling. And I did like and they used models too. They used models also, but not any really CG. It was mostly just models, large-scale riggings, and then superimposed green screen stuff. And I love the line, "You just killed a helicopter with a car." I was out of bullets. It's such a cheesy but awesome action movie line. It was in the trailer, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go watch it. And you'd think the guards at these federally secured buildings, like Woodlawn, would be better trained, because they basically took them out. There were only 4 guys. And the 2 outside got taken out by a guy with a silencer handgun, and that was it. I'm pretty sure it would be a lot harder to get into a federally secured, area. Also, when they start downloading the information, if you look at the screen where Timothy Oliphant's character is, Gabriel, it says starting download 0 of 500 terabytes. I'm pretty sure that the accumulated wealth of the country and all financial documentation would be probably more than 500 terabytes. I'm just saying. Something I noticed. So if you get the bad guy's gun, don't throw it away. Keep it. You might need the ammo. McClane did that. Beat up the bad guy. He had 2 guns. Shot him with one of them, and then threw the gun on the ground. Keep the gun, man. You may need that. Haven't you ever played a video game? Now, I would not mind wrestling around with Maggie Q. She's delicious, and she's badass. But it's hard to fight a car. This stunt where the McClane's driving the SUV through the building, and it crashes into her and takes her to the elevator shaft, and it comes down. That was a cool scene. And what I like about it is they built that full scale, a section of the elevator shaft. They had the car in there, and it was all rigged up to do the action sequence, all practical. That's beautiful. That's how it should be done. I'm glad they did it that way, because it looked great. When they were in the power station, though, Gabriel forced all the gas lines to the electrical grid, the power plant, and then blew up the power plant because he was mad that his girlfriend died. Why couldn't he have just done that in the first place? Why go through all the complication of taking out the guards and trying to reprogram everything if you could just siphon all the gas there and blow up the whole thing? I'm just saying, your girlfriend could still be alive if you had thought of that earlier. It's all your fault, Gabriel. You can't be mad at McClane. And then we get to Kevin Smith. Yay! I really like the banter between the three of them. Justin Long and Kevin Smith had good timing with each other. Bruce Willis, although he's kind of a fish out of water, he's very good at playing the tough guy. He's like, get out of my house. If you don't tell me what I want to know, I'm going to beat you to death in your own house. This is silly, it's stupid, but I found it funny. The Lucy character, the daughter of McClane, Lucy Gennaro, she was written well. I really believed that she would be McClane's daughter. She had the same kind of attitude, the same feistiness, and she was just like a hot version of McClane, pretty much. Cyril's movements, the henchman, the stuntman, his movements in all the fight scenes are very smooth and precise. Even with wire work, like he's such a pro with that wire work that his movements seem flawless. Plus, he had a pretty cool death. He got shredded. I thought it was a little too fast myself. I would have liked a longer fight scene just because I would like to see Cyril a little more. But poor McClane would get his ass kicked, so I guess we'll have to kill Cyril. Oh well. Next time, Cyril, we'll see you in another movie, because you're in a lot of them. I like the line, the truck is coming up too fast. And then they do the kind of cut to Lucy, and she's like, that would be my dad. I don't know what it is about that scene, but I like the way that she delivered it. It was like a cocky, you're in trouble, and the bad guy gets a little scared. But the action sequence with the truck and the F-35, although impossible, I don't think that F-35, a real F-35, could fly the way that they were doing it in the movie. I mean, that was pretty crazy precision there. But it looked good for the most part, because they did do a lot of practical effects for the action sequence, like when they blow up part of the bridge and the truck is going to the side and he's trying to bring it back, and shooting of the truck and blowing the metal off everywhere. Like, that was all practical effects. That was done with either models or stunt drivers and all that kind of stuff, riggings, and so that looked great. But when McClane ends up getting on top of the F-35, that's when all of the believability goes out the window. There's no way he's going to be on this. Well, for one, an F-35 where the engine gets kind of cut out and blown up because something dropped in it is not going to slowly swing around. I mean, it's going to violently twitch and crash somewhere. But then he slides off to the part of the bridge that's angled and slides down the bridge as the airplane comes in and blows up. No. I mean, that's the type of ridiculousness that's a little too high for even John McClane. But, it looked pretty. You're just watching it going, no. It was filmed well, but still, no. One of the things I was wondering about in this movie, because they did it twice. The bad guy's got the gun in the holster, and John McClane grabs the gun in the holster and then just pulls the trigger and shoots the bad guy's foot. And then later in the movie, Lucy does the same thing. How come none of these bad guys put their safety on before putting it in the holster? You would think that if you're good enough with a gun, you can pull it out and take the safety off before you shoot someone. So why take the risk of shooting your own foot or having someone else shoot your foot by keeping the safety off in your holster. That just seems stupid to me. And they deserve getting their foot blown off with their own gun because they're just dumb and they don't know gun safety. Idiot bad guys. Now, shooting yourself to kill the bad guy, that's a very action-y hero move. But this time, at least, he was smart enough to take the ambulance to the hospital instead of a limo or an airport golf cart, or just sit on the curb and then get onto a payphone to call his wife. So, John McClane finally got into an ambulance. Took 17 years, but he finally got in an ambulance. I'm sorry for all of the cuts that were in this video. I think I'm getting a little sick because I've been coughing, and my cat is a little sick, so he's been sneezing while I'm filming. So I've had to do some cut and edits. I normally like to try and do a one take, but it is what it is. Anyway, what did you guys think of Live Free, Die Hard? What did you like? What did you not like? Did you mind the PG-13? Comment below. Like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends. And I will see you guys on the next video.